to our next page, which is economy page. Switching lanes in EV race. Amid lithium headwinds, India set sights on hydrogen fuel cells. So what does that mean? Switching lanes in EV race. So that means that there are two lanes in order to make an electric vehicle. First is lithium batteries and second is hydrogen fuel cells. So why there is a switch? There is a switch because India do not have any lithium mines currently, or you can say not even in future, because this cannot be made. So India do not have any lithium that is present on its land. It import all of it, and making hydrogen fuel cells is more, you can say, convenient for India. So reading this news, India's first indigenously developed hydrogen fuel cell. This is indigenously developed. So you see, India has made it. It has produced and manufactured it. So this bus that was made from hydrogen fuel cell, it was unveiled in late August with the fuel cell. So what does it do actually? What does this hydrogen fuel cell, how it works? It uses hydrogen and air to generate electricity on board to power the bus. Who developed it? It was developed jointly by CSIR, which is Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. So this is important, how hydrogen fuel cell works. So you can write it down in a copy that it works by using hydrogen and air to generate electricity. And also it was made jointly by Pune-based automotive software company, which is KPIT Limited. So this is being seen as a milestone of sorts, especially given the government's strong electric vehicle policy push that comes amid a struggle to make inroads into the global lithium value chains. So this, you can say, achievement is important because government is strongly pushing for electric vehicles, and there are struggles. So what are these struggles? The struggles are to make inroads into the global lithium value chain. So this is a very struggling area for India, and it has prompted a rethink on the need to diversify countries' dependency on lithium ion batteries in the overall EV mix. So that is why, because this is very difficult for India to get into the global lithium value chains, that is why India is thinking about to diversify, to take other roads to make electric vehicles and not just be dependent on lithium ion batteries. Now, New Delhi's electrical mobility is largely focused on battery electric vehicles. So New Delhi's electrical mobility, you see, because a lot of these vehicles, these battery electrical vehicles. So what is the problem? You see, demand for lithium ion batteries from India is projected to grow. So demand will increase how much? Up to 30% by volume at year 2030. So what is the requirement? Over 50,000 tons of lithium will be required for the country India in order to manufacture only just the batteries. And over 90% of global production of lithium is concentrated in Chile, Argentina and Bolivia. So with over 90% of global lithium production which is concentrated in Chile, Argentina and Bolivia, so with over 90% of production of global lithium is concentrated in Chile, Argentina and Bolivia. So also Australia and China also have large mines of this lithium, which is an element that is used to make lithium ion batteries. Other key inputs, for example cobalt and nickel, are mined in Congo and Indonesia. So India would need to be almost entirely dependent on imports. So India do not have any mines, or you can say any capacity of lithium in its land, so that is why it will be entirely dependent on imports, and that too from small pools of countries in order to cater to its demand, while other options to lithium ion batteries are being explored. You see, hydrogen batteries are being explored. Now viability remains a key factor. A renewed focus on hydrogen as a mobility option comes against this backdrop. So instead of importing lithium ion batteries, India is focusing on getting hydrogen battery as its another option. Traditionally, a slower move in the electric vehicle technologies, India has made an uncharacteristically early push in the race to tap the energy potential of the most abundant element in the universe, which is hydrogen. So India wants to win the race in order to make it a potential electric vehicle manufacturing hub, and that too from the most abundant element in the hydrogen in the universe, which is hydrogen. Wants to make hydrogen batteries. This includes a national hydrogen mission. So this national hydrogen mission, this is a roadmap for using hydrogen as an energy source. And by proposed end user sectors, this includes steel and chemicals. So this is end use sector. So you see, steel will be used, various chemicals will be used, but the major industry that hydrogen has potential of transforming. So the major industry that this hydrogen can transform, this is transportation. So you use hydrogen batteries in transportation and can transform it. Why? Because this transportation now in today time, it contributes a third of all greenhouse gas emissions, where hydrogen is being viewed as a direct replacement of fossil fuels. So, 1/3 of all greenhouse gas emissions in India is done from the transportation, and this can be cut off. How? By direct replacement of fossil fuels by this hydrogen battery. And it has also specific advantages over traditional electric vehicles. As a supporting regulatory framework, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways in the late 2020, they have issued a notification. What was it about? It was about proposing amendment to the Central Motor Vehicle Rules 1989, and it included safety evaluation standards for HFC based vehicle. Now what is hydrogen as a fuel source? How it can help? While hydrogen's potential as a clean fuel source has history, which has for nearly 150 years, it was only after the oil price shocks of 1970s that the possibility of element replacing fossil fuels came to be considered seriously. So since 150 years, this hydrogen fuel was a matter of exploration, but it came only into effect. It became only serious when the oil prices shock came in 1970s, and three car makers, which is Japan's Honda, Toyota, and South Korea's Hyundai, they have since moved decisively in the direction of commercializing this technology and on a limited scale. So these three companies, they're trying to commercialize this technology. They're trying to make more output out of this technology, and most common element in nature, however, is not found freely. So this is the main, you can say, drawback, because hydrogen is not found freely, and you can give filtering out hydrogen from the other combined compounds is very difficult process. Hydrogen exists only when combined with other elements and has to be extracted from naturally occurring compounds such as water. You know, water is a combination of two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom, so it is called H2O. Although hydrogen is a clean molecule, the process of extracting is energy intensive. You see, it's very difficult to extract the hydrogen in its pure form from the compounds, or you can say components, that it, such as water and all that. The two most common methods that are used are for producing hydrogens are, first, natural gas reforming, and second one is electrolysis. So this natural gas reforming as well as electrolysis, these are the two common methods that are used in order to produce hydrogen. Thermal process for hydrogen production typically involves steam reforming. This is a process in which steam reacts with hydrocarbon fuels and it produces hydrogen. So it accounts for about 95% of all hydrogen produced. So whatever the production of hydrogen we see in the world, 95% of it is done using the process of natural gas reforming. This is a thermal process, and you see steam reacts with hydrocarbons in order to produce this hydrogen. What is next is electrolysis. Now in electrolysis, water is split into oxygen and hydrogen, and this is done through a process called electrolysis. Electrolytic processes take place, all this process take place in an electrolyzer, which functions more like a fuel cell in reverse. So how this works is that instead of using the energy of hydrogen molecule as a fuel cell does, electrolyzer creates hydrogen by splitting water molecules. So it does not use as an energy, it splits the water into two things. First is hydrogen and then second is oxygen. So you get hydrogen alone in this process. So how hydrogen fuel cell works? So this is you see is important. Hydrogen is an energy carrier. It's not a source of energy. So you see, this is very important. Hydrogen fuel must therefore be transformed into electricity by a device called fuel cell stack. Before it can be used to power a car or truck. So there is a device which is called a fuel cell, and this is to be stacked between it so that this can create power in order to run cars or truck. Now this fuel cell converts chemical energy into electrical energy. You have seen the cell which is used in the clocks as a battery. This converts this chemical energy into electrical energy. The same goes in this fuel cells also. This fuel cells convert chemical energy to electrical energy using oxidizing agents, and this is done through oxidation and reduction reaction. Now fuel cell based vehicles, most commonly what they do, they combine hydrogen and oxygen to produce electricity to power the electric motor on board. So first you separate this hydrogen and oxygen and then you combine them. So this combination creates electricity, and this is then used to power the electric motor on board. Since fuel cell vehicles, they use electricity to run, so that is why they are considered electric vehicles. So inside each individual fuel cell, so what is inside the fuel cell? Hydrogen is drawn from an on-board pressurized tank, and it is made to react with a catalyst. This catalyst is made from platinum. So you see, this is a very costly process because platinum is itself very costly and is a rare metal. So hydrogen is drawn from a tank and then is reacted with a catalyst with platinum. As the hydrogen passes through the platinum, it is stripped of its electron. So the electrons of this hydrogen are stripped off and they are forced to move along an external circuit. Now these electrons produce electrical current. This current is then used by the electric motor to power the vehicle. So you may have read in your lower classes that moving charges produces current, and these charges are here electrons, which are negative charges. So these moving electrons, it creates electric current, and that too in the opposite direction. Electrons move in one direction and current moves in other direction. So these moving electrons, it create electric current, and this current is used by electric motor to power the vehicle, with the only byproduct being water vapor. So this hydrogen fuel cell cars, these cars have a net near zero carbon footprint. Hydrogen is about 2 to 3 times as efficient as burning petrol, because an electric chemical reaction is much more efficient than combustion. So what is you can say, what role does this fossil fuel do actually in cars? It is being burnt, and it creates a combustion, it creates a spark that is being used in order to run the vehicle. Now what this this hydrogen thing do, it creates electric current, it do electric chemical reaction, and this is being considered more efficient than combustion. The new HFC technology bus prototype, which is unveiled in Pune, is seen as a major breakthrough, and this is India made, which is indigenously developed fuel cell stack. Now this is made using collaboration of CSIR and also the National Chemical Laboratory in Pune. The fuel cell that is being used here is what is called a low temperature proton exchange membrane type fuel cell. So this is the name, low temperature proton exchange membrane type fuel cells, and this operates at 65 to 75 degrees Celsius. This temperature, 65 to 75 degrees Celsius, is suitable for vehicular applications. This polymer electrolyte membrane fuel cells, which is also called proton exchange membrane fuel cells, these uses a proton conducting polymer membrane as an electrolyte. So you see, the electrolyte is a thing that is being used as a reactor. You see, in an electrolysis process, electrolyte is filled. You see a fuel cell, you see a cell, just imagine a cell. You see there's a black cylindrical long tube that is inserted inside the cell. This is the electrolyte. So now what is the electrolyte that is used in this polymer electrolyte membrane fuel cells? It is a proton conducting polymer membrane that is used as electrolyte, and hydrogen is used as a fuel. These cells operate at relatively low temperatures and are best candidates for powering automobiles. So these operate at a lower temperature and they are good as compared to other things. The problem with hydrogen, so what is the main issue? Globally there were under 25,000 HFC vehicles on the road at the end of 2020, and by comparison electric cars were 8 million. You see, the biggest manufacturer of electric cars is Tesla, and it has sold a lot of it. A big hurdle to the adoption of HFC vehicle has been a lack of fueling in station infrastructure. So there are not much fueling stations. You see, this was also a problem in electric vehicles, that there are not much charging stations. As you see, a lot of petrol pumps, etc. when it comes to fossil fuels, but when it comes to hydrogen vehicles, there has been a lack of fueling stations infrastructure, and even though fuel cell cars refuel in a similar way to conventional cars, they cannot use the same stations. Just 500 operational hydrogen stations were there in 2021, and that too mostly in Europe, Japan, South Korea, and few in North America. Safety is also a concern. Hydrogen is pressurized and it is stored in a cryogenic tank from where it is fed to a lower pressure cell. So why these cryogenic tanks are used? So first of all, you have to understand what is a cryogenic tank. Cryogenic tank is a tank that is particularly used in order to store gases such as oxygen, hydrogen, etc. And why they are used, why ordinary tanks are not used? Because cryogenic tanks are made in order to store gas at a specific pressure and specific temperature, and also this can be maintained in this tank and also can be transported from one place to another. So that is why this hydrogen is pressurized and is stored in a cryogenic tank, from where it is fed to a lower pressure cells and it is put through an electrochemical reaction in order to generate electricity. So now this is the way in which the electricity is generated. Hyundai and Toyota say that safety and reliability of hydrogen fuel tanks is of a level similar to that of standard CNG engines. Scaling up the technology and achieving critical mass remains the big challenge. More vehicles on the road and more supporting infrastructure can reduce cost. India's proposed mission is seen as a step in that direction. So it wants to make infrastructure such as this charging stations and also refueling stations. And then the India's mission can be seen as a step in that direction. So this was all of that. We see this picture also, that there's a battery, then there's a high pressure hydrogen tank, fuel cell stacks, this is motor, this is power control unit, and then fuel cell boost converter. So this we see in future we will see more of these hydrogen vehicles, because it is relatively more safer for India than to import lithium from other countries such as these Latin American countries such as Chile, Bolivia and Argentina, and then countries such as Australia. Although Australia is trying to help India, is trying to export lithium also, but it seriously do not wants to import as much, and it wants to diversify more when it comes to making of electric vehicles. So this figure of this, I will make short notes of this news and I will post that in the Telegram group. So the Telegram is also the same TNA. I will make especially the figure of 3 countries, that is Chile, Argentina and Bolivia, and I will also explain how much of this fuel is actually present in this area, and also how much is the total fuel requirement in the coming years. So I will explain this. I will make that diagram too. You can see the channel in the Telegram. I will make the link available in the description, so you can see that. And also, if you have not made notes till now, which I have explained in the previous news, I will make that in the page and I will share that image to you. You can download that image and also revise it, read it and then revise it. So make sure to check out the channel in the description box. So next come the world news. Charles III proclaimed monarch was to follow Queen's example. So this we see a lot of news has already came in this regard. Now next come Russia pulls back forces from to Kharkiv region, and this is the war that's going on. We see that Russia is pulling back, so this is a major achievement for Ukraine, but no, you can say, signs of ending this war has been till now being demonstrated. So this comes an end to the newspaper. So I hope that you may have written all the things that I've explained, but if you haven't, then make sure to check out the Telegram channel. I've uploaded right now all the notes of all the things that I've explained you, or I have told you to write down. If you have not written it, then you can check it on my Telegram channel. The link is in description. And I will say this newspaper was big, and because I've started a new initiative to explain you the news and the static portion. So the newspaper will become lengthy, but you should remember that I want all of you to learn as much as possible from the news and connect it to your static part. So this was the end of newspaper, and you can read this newspaper as well.